Inhale and rise your hands up above your head, forward fold down, feeling a stretch through the legs, half lift, coming back down, stepping back into plank, lowering down into chaturanga, into up dog, feeling a stretch through the chest, taking a deep breath in and out, moving into down dog, taking a deep breath into down dog, pausing, really stretching through the calves, and then bringing one foot through in between your hands, extending your arms up overhead, slightly leaning back so you feel a stretch through the core. After your deep breath there, you'll move back into down dog to repeat the motion on the other side, syncing with your breath, rising up, stretching through the core, taking a deep breath, holding the pose, then lowering back down, stepping back into down dog, stretching again, bringing your feet forward in between your hands, rounding that back up, really extending, rounding through that back, through the vertebrae before we reverse back to the top. Arms are up, coming back down into that forward fold, half lift, stepping back into down dog, chaturanga down into up dog, stretching, looking up towards the sky, taking a deep breath, going back into down dog. This time we are going to go into pigeon. You bring your knee in between your hands, stretching into the pigeon pose, lowering down to what your flexibility allows, just taking a couple deep breaths in this pose, relaxing every muscle. After 2 or 3 breaths, then you're going to go back up into down dog and repeat the pigeon stretch on the opposing side, focusing on taking slow, deep breaths in each pose, relaxing the muscles with each stretch, allowing yourself to mentally and physically just relax. After the 2 or 3 breaths, you're going to go back up into down dog, really pushing those heels to the floor to stretch through the lower body. Then come down on all fours and we'll go into brief cat-cow, just some spinal mobility, rounding the back up and then lifting the tailbone. Exhale as you round up, inhale as you reverse the motion. Exhale up, inhale down, and then you're going to sink back into child's pose, reaching those fingertips forward, taking a couple deep breaths in this pose before we stretch through the lats, walking your hands to the left, taking a couple deep breaths in this pose, just relaxing into your hips, and then after 2 breaths you'll come back to center, take a deep breath or 2 in this pose, and then you will walk your hands to the opposite side to stretch the other side of the lats. Again, just 2 slow, deep breaths, relaxing every muscle as you can, reaching those fingertips, coming back to center for one final breath, coming back up onto all fours, and then we're going to come up into kneeling where you clasp your fingertips behind you and gently lift your chest. And then arm across the chest, stretching through that shoulder, making sure your shoulders are down and away from the ears. Again, 2 deep breaths, and then you can switch sides. Moving into tricep stretch, just a brief tricep stretch with a slight side bend so you can stretch the obliques out a little bit, taking 1 deep breath in each pose. And then we're going to go into the lying spinal twist. So you're going to flip around, lie on your back, hug one knee into your chest, and then bring it across the body with the opposite arm out to the side, taking 2 deep breaths, really stretching through the rib cage, feeling a good stretch through that mid-lower back. After those 2 deep breaths, you'll switch legs. 1 deep breath with the knee hugged into the chest before you cross it over. Opposite arm crossed over. again, those 2 deep breaths, really stretching through that mid-low back. Coming back to center. Then we're gonna roll to the side and then push yourself up nice and slow so you don't get lightheaded, and we'll just come into a crisscross position, or if you want, put your heels together to stretch those inner thighs in butterfly. And just breathe.